All right, listen up. This is a Code Ninja security advisory. We're tracking a critical remote code execution vulnerability in Microsoft SharePoint. The identifier is CVE 2026-2963. And yes, your immediate attention is absolutely required.
Okay, let's get right to the heart of the problem. On one hand, you've got Microsoft's initial take back in January. Exploitation less likely. Sounds manageable, right? Well, on the other hand, you have the current reality from CISA. That's the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. Their take? Actively exploited global crisis. See the difference? That massive gap between less likely and global crisis is exactly why we're sounding the alarm right now.
So here's our briefing protocol. We're going to cover the SharePoint crisis itself, break down the threat vector, go over the patch protocol you must follow, and then walk through the timeline to see how this thing blew up.
First up, SharePoint crisis, code red. We're looking at how a routine patch notice turned into a full-blown national security priority.
Okay, before we get into the nitty-gritty, we need to establish a secure comms link. Your engagement here is actually critical for us to track the real-time impact of this threat, so stand by for protocol.
Right, here's the protocol. Step 1, subscribe. This secures your channel for real-time intel. Think of it as joining the secure net. Step 2, acknowledge receipt of this advisory with a like. It's your ACK. Step 3, and this is important, report your status in the comments. Just type patched or vulnerable. This is a census, and it helps us map the blast radius in real time. Got it? Let's move. All right, section 2, threat vector. Now we're going to deconstruct the blast radius of this thing because we are talking about total system compromise. Look at that number, 9.8 out of 10. You know, we see high numbers all the time, but a 9.8, that's not just high, it's catastrophic. It basically means for an attacker, this vulnerability is a skeleton key, a perfect weapon to use against any system that hasn't been patched. So what's the weak spot here? It's a classic CWE 502 Deserialization of Untrusted Data. You know, to put it simply, imagine your server gets a package. It's supposed to open it and follow the instructions inside. But with this flaw, an attacker can send a package with malicious instructions, and the server just trusts it. It runs the malicious code without question. And just like that, the attacker gets the keys to the entire kingdom.
And here's what should really worry you. Look at what an attacker needs to pull this off. The attack vector, network. They don't need to be anywhere near your hardware. Complexity, low. This isn't some super complex nation-state level exploit. It's easy. Privileges required? None. They don't need a username, a password, nothing. And end-user interaction? Also none. They don't need to trick someone into clicking a link. This is a fire-and-forget weapon. They can launch it from anywhere, against anyone, and it just works.
And when this exploit is successful, the result is, well, it's absolute. A total loss of confidentiality, integrity, and availability. That's the CIA triad, the bedrock of information security. Confidentiality gone means your secrets are stolen. Integrity gone means they can change your data. Availability gone means they can shut you down completely. It's not a partial breach, it's game over. Okay, moving on to the most critical part of this briefing, Section 3, Patch Protocol. Pay close attention because these are the mandatory actions you need to take right now to defend your perimeter.
All right, this is your immediate action item. Look at this table. Find your SharePoint product. Now look at your current build number. If your build number is lower than the one you see on the screen next to your product, you are exposed. You are vulnerable right now. You need to patch immediately. No excuses.
And let me be crystal clear. This is not a suggestion. This is a directive, modeled on CISA's own rules for federal agencies. Step 1. Apply the vendor patches. Get the official Microsoft updates installed now. Step 2. Follow the guidance for any affected cloud services you're using. And step 3, if for some reason you absolutely cannot patch, you have to take the product offline. Disconnect it from the network. There is no other option. And here's the ticking clock. CISA set a hard deadline for U.S. federal agencies, March 21st, 2026. Now that date has passed. For the government, the clock has already run out. That should tell you everything you need to know about the urgency here. If you're not patched, you are living on borrowed time. Okay. Final section. Let's look at the timeline of this escalation. To really grasp the urgency, you have to see how we went from a low-risk vulnerability to an active, in-the-wild threat that everyone is scrambling to fix.
So let's walk through this. It all starts on January 13th. Microsoft discloses the CVE, but
and this is key, they rate it exploitation less likely. So a lot of people probably put it on the back burner. Fast forward to March 17th, just a minor update, nothing major. But then, look at the very next day, March 18th, the whole game changes. CISA adds this CVE to its KEV, the Known Exploited Vulnerabilities catalog. That shift from less likely to actively exploited means one thing. Threat intel has confirmed that attackers are using this in the wild. It's not theoretical anymore. It's a weapon and it's being fired. And that's why just 3 days later, CISA dropped the hammer with that mandatory deadline.
You know, people sometimes ask why we do these public advisories. The reason is simple. Disclosure is necessary. You, the people on the front lines defending your networks, you have to know what's coming. You must have the intel to protect your systems. That's the job. That is the code.
End of transmission. Stay secure.